examine the hardware. So apparently, DSi is a weaker hardware from iPhone. So this task is sort of a downgrading from something big to something small. Okay. So except yeah, iPhone slurps battery like that. So endurance fight, DSi would win. So anyway. So problem number one, asset disparity. Hardware disparity. So I discussed that a while ago. DSi only has 16 megabytes of RAM, and compared to iPhone, which has about five. Something bigger, substantially bigger, like 64 megabytes, and I think the processor is like so really a mismatch. Like the DSi only has a 133 megahertz Pentium 1 equivalent processor, and the iPhone has like a Pentium 3 equivalent processor. So there you go, hardware disparity. Assets too big for the DSi. So textures on iPhone is about 1024 by 1024, and DSi's max is only about 512 by 512, and we usually only use half of that resolution. So there you go, resolution-wise and memory-wise. So another problem is DSi's nitro character is very fragmented. What I mean by fragmented is there are many wasted spaces on creating sprites. So as you see, the squares are very big. The base sprites are very big, so it produces a sort of a very fragmented asset there. And problem number one, continuation. Note that most iPhone games run only on 25 frames per second, so they, in order to save battery life, so display performance is most of the time really pushed to the limit. So most of our iPhone games are really pushed to the limit graphically. One example is Asphalt. You go download that. It's a good game. Begging law. So, solution. Downsize or remake the assets. Most of the time, we always remake the assets so that it would tailor the screen size of the DS. Especially the DS has two screens. So, we usually remake the assets. But some assets can be downsized too. Anyway. Other solution to that nitro character problem, we use our own asset tool, which is the Aurora GT. And Nitro, I've heard from an office mate that Square Enix, Final Fantasy, if you haven't heard, it's just a hearsay, but they modified the Nitro character so that it would produce more optimized assets for them. So there you go. Aurora GT, our GameLoft's proprietary primary sprite animation and imaging tool. It's modified also to be able to create game scripts and very extensible plugin system. Sorry, but I can't demo it. Apparently, it requires a network connection to be ran. But it's really an extensive sprite tool, and it's really good. There. Problem number two, gameplay. So this one example, this one is the iPhone version of the Asphalt Asphalt 4, and this one is the DS version of the Asphalt 4. As you can see, the iPhone one, you control it by tilting the iPhone itself, and the DS one, you control it by swiping off the wheel, and it turns left and turns right. You can also use the direction button, actually. So there, features review. iPhone has camera, touchscreen, and use of microphone. Not sure about iPod, sorry, wrong about the slide. So, and the DSi has all of the set features. So, also DSi has double screen, though tricky to utilize. Some games actually uses two 3D screens, 3D here, 3D there, but it's actually tricky to use because you'd have to write you'd have to write the raster here and then switch the buffer up so that you can implement the double 3D. It has the frame rate, but well, double 3D. Well, anyway, solution. Gameplay revamp, redesign. Just like a while ago, instead of using the tilting function to control the car, we use the stylus to control the car left or right, or you can actually use the buttons on the DSi. Uh, Most importantly is utilize the two screens. The bottom screen can be used for minimap, character stat, etc. Top screen for gameplay, like these games. This one is Brain Challenge, and this one also, you can download it on DSiWare. Please download it, support it. Actually, I created the game. Anyway, and this one is Popstar 2. I made part of the game too, so download it. It's fun. Sorry for that. Well, anyway, problem number 3 is mostly on the programming side. So, game code. First of all, DSi doesn't use hardware float. So, you have to utilize fixed point math in order to represent fractional numbers. So you can still use float on load time though. Game size only 16 megabytes allowed, including the game manual on a DSiWare game. So imagine the Brain Challenge is about 256 megabytes on game size when it was sent to us. It was a DS version. We did have to shrink it down to 16 megabytes. Yeah. So imagine the space disparity. And DSi also has limited stack memory, so those stack tricks might not work on the DSi. Yeah. So to prevent these problems, one of these are mostly general solutions to a very versatile engine. Use of interfaces is very important. So instead of inheriting classes from you just use interface. And writing graphics method would be easier if we use interface. So another solution we did on Brain Challenge is use LZMA. It's a great compression algorithm. Also, we use RLE because run, length, and coding. Just research on it. I don't want to explain the algorithm here, but it's a nice algorithm for assets which especially has many white spaces like this one. It would compress a lot if this was an image. Switch to dynamic allocation if stack overflow occurs. Yeah, most of that. Oh, what's this? It's not part of my presentation anyway. Oh my god. There you go. Switch to dynamic allocation if stack overflow occurs, especially during load time. So I've seen many parts of our iPhone codes which actually allocates about a megabyte of string, and it's put into the stack, and yeah, memory overflow occurs. Floats can, like I said a while ago, floats can still be used on load time and unload time, but you must use fixed point and on updates and draws. Especially the DS library only utilizes fixed point values. So there. Utilize faster signal processing algorithm for DSi camera and mic, but most of the time there's already a built-in algorithm, but if you can write something faster, then that's good. And summary, so downgrading is hard. Upgrading is a lot more easier actually. Downgrading is hard, especially if there's no game engine to centralize everything. Plan everything out ahead. Plan everything beforehand and keep the developers. My email address is Renz Sui at gamelock.com if you want to apply. Thanks to IGDA, Kucha,